welcome. Let's all come to our mats and we're going to start with the feet. So just having a little feel into the feet. We'll do a little bit of footwork, leg work today. And starting with just our tiptoes and heels. Tiptoes and heels. So we're lifting the toes up and then the heels up. Lifting the toes up and then the heels up. And we're just getting into a nice rhythm. And if you find that your sense of balance is a little bit off today, then just start with lifting the toes and then down. Lifting the toes and then down, and start to get that lovely sway feeling first before you lift the heels and bring it into the full movement. Then just getting into a nice rhythm. Feeling the work that's going on in our Achilles and the calves and the feet, really strengthening all the muscles there, which really helps maintain our balance every day. And once you can feel that that burning has really sunk deep into the muscle group there, you don't want to overdo it and fatigue the muscle, you just want to be able to feel it. And we'll just allow the feet to come to stillness and just feel the feet sinking into the floor. Let's just land the feet. So we're going to take a breath in, feeling our feet, and as you breathe out, sink the feet down into the earth. Breathing in, feel the feet, and as you breathe out, sinking the feet into the earth. One more breath, breathing in. And as you breathe out, allowing those feet to sink in. You might even close your eyes and just feel the body there. Let's bring ourselves to the back of the mat and we'll do a little bit of funny walking. So let's come up onto the tips of our toes, let's say, first. Do the hard one first, and we're going to just walk to the front of the mat and then to the back of the mat. We'll just do that again. So we're going to do it twice on each part of the foot. And then when we get to the back, we'll go onto the heels and we'll walk the heels forward and then back. And again, that's 2 times, so we'll do it again. Oh, getting a bit wobbly. Feel how that you're really working the muscles, different muscles each time. Let's come to the edges of the feet, so we're going to let the knees go out slightly and go onto the outer edge of the foot with a little toe, and it's little steps, so we're just keeping the knees safe and the rest of the body in safe, but just by taking little steps. Just feeling that pressure that comes down on the edge of the foot. Now, if that, for any reason, didn't feel that comfortable, don't do a second one if it's too much. Because these are muscles, again, that we don't use a lot, so you can feel a bit overworked. And then we're going to widen the legs a little bit, turn the knees in. So we've got knock knees, we're on the inner edges of the feet by the big toe. Again, it's just little movements. And you might want to, if this does hurt your knee, you might just want to stay in one spot and not necessarily walk forwards and back. That's another way of doing it. And again, it's twice if you can manage it. And twice is quite a lot. You might be able to start to feel, if you start to feel a little bit of cramping because the muscles are working too hard, then just stop. And then when you land this time, really feel how hard those feet have worked. So very much in our awareness, let them relax and let them sink into the floor. Take a breath. Breathing in and relax. Next, we're going to just move to the hands. So we're just going to rub the hands. Get them nice and warm. Warm as we can, just waking them up. And then we can stretch them, so really feel those inner webbings. Stretch and squeeze. Stretch and squeeze. Stretch and squeeze. And then coming back to the one we did last week, I hope you've been practicing. One thumb up, little finger, opposite little finger down. Yeah, so we've got the thumb in fists. And then we're just going to swap. And remember, it's not about being able to do it perfectly first time. It's just in the attempt, we are really working our left-right brain, and we're also really getting our brain connection into our fingers. Such a challenge, this one, really good. Great. Okay, and then we just let those hands shake out. And you probably can feel them, so let's have a little moment to feel our feet and our hands together. Take a nice breath there. And then we'll do a little work with the face. So we're going to do a little bit of jaw shaking. I'm just going to get near the camera here. So jaw shaking is just basically moving the jaw side to side, and then open and close or round. So we can feel that this jaw joint is moving around. And that can be quite hard work, and mine clicks. Probably can't hear it. Let's warm the hands up a little bit and then just give that a little bit of relaxation there. And of course, a little bit of tapping on the jawline to the chin and back, and then up to the upper lip and back is also really nice. Just a few times, and then just close your eyes. Feel your face there, relaxing the jaw. And we have face and hands and feet. Take a nice breath with this awareness. And then we're ready to begin. Okay, so let's do some salutations with this sort of hand-foot awareness at the same time. You're just finding your place. If you want to do a little bit of rock side to side or round and round, and just find the center of the weight distribution so it feels even. And then we're going to take a nice big breath in and move the arms. But as you move the arms, I want you to really feel into your hands. So as you breathe in, it's as if the air was made of treacle and you were passing your hands through the air, and you can feel it on that in-breath. Breathing in, reaching up, feel the feet sink, the hands reach, and relax your jaw. If you want to, you can look up, and that opens the thyroid out and gives you a nice stretch there in the neck. Bend the knees. Breathing out, we're going to bend the knees and come into a forward fold. And touch your hands to something. It doesn't matter what it is, but just have that sense that you can feel your feet and your hands touching something. Tuck the chin in and relax the jaw. Breathing in, we're going to look up and stretch and flatten the back as best we can. Bending the knees right down. Let's bring the hands to the floor and take a step back with one foot and then the other. We're going to come into downward dog. So this is a nice easy sun salutation, easy to remember. And when you're in downward dog, you can feel the hands working hard there, supporting you. You can feel the feet trying to sink into the ground. Just check in with your jaw. We're going to drop the knees and sit back on our heels in child pose. Take a breath. Just notice, how is your back here? And how is your knees? You might not be able to sit all the way back, and that's okay. We're going to come onto our fronts, ready to do our cobra pose. So you've got the hands on the floor. We're pushing up. Again, relax your bottom, breathing in, little look up to open the thyroid. And then as you breathe out, we're going to push back first into child pose, nice and easy. And then back into downward dog. if you want to. We're going to take a step forward with one foot and then the other. We're in forward fold, just relaxing here, feeling the feet and the hands. And then uncurling as you breathe in, bring the arms up. As if again you're going through treacle, looking up and back. Bring the hands together as you breathe out, bring them here to the thymus gland and give that a little rub. Right in the center of the chest. One side and then the other. Now you can continue, you know it now, it's nice and easy, so continue at your own breathing pace. I'll try and keep a bit more quiet, breathing in, coming up and back. Breathing out, forward fold. Listen to your breath. When you want to breathe in, move to the next position. When you want to breathe out, step back into child. We're going to miss out that child pose. If you want to, you can just go straight into downward dog. Breathing in, you can go straight into the cobra if you want to. We're a bit warmed up, you don't need those extra poses in between, but you might want. Breathing out, you can move back into child pose. Or if you don't want to do child pose, straight into downward dog. Take a breath. Or two. Looking up at your hands, breathing in, we're coming into a forward fold again. Bringing your hands somewhere so you can feel hands and feet together. As you breathe out, in breath, you're looking up and back, flattening the back. Out breath, coming down, relaxing. Uncurling, using the hands as you come up. Nice big arch. Looking up and back if you wish to, if your balance is happy to do that, and then bringing the hands together. Another little rub here. And hopefully each time we do this, it's feeling a little bit less tender. Okay, so this last round, at your own pace. Okay, so follow your breath, in breath. Look up and back if it feels okay. Out breath. Folding. In breath, flattening the back. And stepping back, you can go straight into down dog perhaps this time because we're a little bit warmer. Breathing in, can come right into cobra if you want to. And then back to downward dog on the out breath. Now you don't have to do it that quickly, remember you can take more breaths if you wish. Breathing. Couple of breaths here in downward dog, just trying to relax the body. And we're going to step forward into our forward bend for the final little bit. So you can give these stretches perhaps a little bit more now that we're a bit warmed up. Breathing in, looking up. Flattening the back, breathing out, going back down again. With the hands, reaching, feeling that treacle as you come through. And all the way up, hands together. And then back down to the center. Lovely. So at your own pace, I mean, I've gone fairly quickly. You might want to go a bit slower, and that's okay. Let's just bring the hands to the side. You can just feel there. The feet and the hands. Just check in with your jaw. Perhaps it's gone a bit tense and needs a bit of a wobble. Bit of a tap. Just allow it to relax a little bit. Good. And then we're going to bend the knees and just start to warm up a little bit in the whole of the spine by doing this side to side. So it's a nice rhythmical movement, one side then the other. One side then the other. Getting into a rhythm. Feeling the tapping on your body, that helps. If you're balance is a little bit off again, just find 2 points to look at from one side. Quite far behind you, it encourages you to go a little bit further round, but obviously be careful. And then just check in when you want to stop. You might feel it quite soon and decide, oh, hang on, feeling a bit dizzy, then you just do a little bit less and come back to the middle. Take a nice breath in, just feel the response there in your body. I'm doing that side to side. I feel like I've been feeling a little bit seasick recently. I was in the hammock so much the other day that when I went to bed, I felt like I was still in it. So there's something going on with my vestibular sense there. It was quite interesting. Okay, so let's do this one. We're going to open. We're looking slightly up, open, breastbone forward. Hands come into fists, close and chin down. So we're pushing that upper back behind us. So we're trying to stretch out the spine. Breathing in, open and close. Open and close. Keep going. Follow your breath. And now at some point your shoulders will tell you, I don't know which point we're just going to finish with the hands crossed here. Take a breath and then drop them by our sides and just feel that orangutan arm feeling coming in as we allow that upper back to release. Okay, so this one, 2 arms up. Something for the left, right brain. We've got to do something every week, otherwise who knows what might happen. So 2 arms up, 1 arm forward, 1 arm back. So we're looking over at the back thumb. Breathing in, 2 arms up. Breathing out, looking at that back thumb. Breathing in. Now, if the breath really confuses you here, then just don't worry about the breathing. Just try to work. 2 arms up. 1 arm forward, 1 arm back, looking at that back thumb, and just keep trying to do that in a nice rhythmical way. And of course, we're doing it until the arms feel like they're going to drop off. Which today for me is quite soon actually, so I'm just going to let the arms come down. You can carry on and just feel them relax. And when I relax my shoulders, it's quite nice to feel that relaxation come right down into the palms of my hands. So again, we've got feet and hands. Just check in with your jaw, just see how that feels. Take a breath. Okay, so let's do a little bit of leg stretching. So we've done some upper back and shoulders and release that a little bit. So let's do a little bit of leg stretching next. Let's start with a nice easy forward bend. So bringing the arms up. Again, if you want to look up and open the thyroid here, you can. And as you breathe out, bend the knees and roll yourself down. So see if you can start at the lower back and feel each vertebra sort of come into a nice position one at a time, finishing off with the neck and the head. And letting go. Bring the hands to wherever you can reach. It doesn't really matter where, so long as you've got them there somewhere so that you can push a little with the hands and push a little with the feet. And then you're going to find yourself sort of slightly looking up. It's not a big one, but relax your jaw and your neck as you do so. And then having done that for a moment, let's just let ourselves drop down. Perhaps grab hold of your elbows. Feel those lovely heavy orangutan arms as we stretch out the hamstrings. And then we can gently uncurl, let our arms dangle. As we come back up. Very slowly. Now you could have stayed there longer if you wanted to, and if you're enjoying that stretch, remember, just as I say, to come out doesn't mean you have to. I'm just making sure that everybody is, and also so that I can see you, because I had to look up to see. Let's take one step forward. Now, difficult to see on the screen, but I've got my ankle here, my front foot aligned with the instep of my back foot. So if there was a line on drawn on my mat, they'd be nicely aligned. And I've got my hips facing forwards. And it's quite a bigger stance than just a little step forward. So there's probably about the distance of one of my legs between my feet. But obviously, the bigger the distance, the harder this is. So you can always adjust that and bring it back if you want to. Important just to turn the hips to face forwards. And you'll feel a little stretch here in the hip. Okay, so just give that a little bit of time. But this is the one where we can do a little bit of smiling of the hips. So we're sort of leaning forwards onto the front leg, and the hip goes up on this side, and then we lean back, and then the hip goes back on that side. And we get this, what I call the hip smile. Now this is quite a lot for the hips to take on. So you might be doing just a tiny little movement, very small. Okay, you might not feel that smile much, but this is really good for warming up actually the hips before we do this stretch. Good, so we've got the hands at our waist for stability. But as you come forwards, we are going to want to bring the hands onto that front leg. So we're going to sort of lean into a forward bend, little bit at a time, because it's quite a good stretch. Now there will be a temptation to bend this front knee. That's okay, but you will lose the stretch in that leg, just so you know. And then when you're here, you can bring the hands then to the legs to support you as you come forwards. And then if you want to slide down, and you might or might not reach the floor, but wherever you slide down to, just allow that to temper your stretch. Now, if there's a little bit of instability here, you can put your hand out and grab a chair if you want to. But our main thing is to try and relax, even though we're stretching. And when you do want to come out, bend that front knee fully and use the muscle in your thigh to push you up. And then, of course, we're going to swap sides. So again, you might still have only just got into that. You want to wait a little while. So check the alignment of your feet. As you face the front, you might want to do a little bit of this smile and just get those hips warmed up in this position. Again, it might not be a big movement, just a little one. And then we're going to slide. So we keep the hands here, and the reason we keep the hands here is because we're trying to keep this chest open. So I've got my elbows behind me, try and keep that chest as open as possible as I come forward. And when I get to a certain point, I can feel that, oh yeah, I could do with my hands helping me here. So I might have bent my knee, might not, I've got my hand, and then I'm sliding down, or I might have held on to my chair to give me a bit of support. And I've got a lovely stretch in the back of the hamstrings there, back of the knee, getting a really good stretch. Try to relax, take a breath. Push with that front leg. When you're ready to come out, bend the knee and push with that front leg. And let that thigh take all the strain. And then, we can come back and just check in with our legs. So after all that stretching, feel the feet. And maybe a tiny tiptoes and heels, a couple of movements just to let the legs then relax down. Because that's quite hard work and good stretching. So we had a little bit of request for knee stretching. So we've done the back of the knee there. Let's just see how the front of the knee fares if we try and do this stretch here. So again, you don't need to balance. You can grab hold of a chair or the wall. And we're just going to bend up and give this knee a little bit of a stretch here. Now, if I go sideways, you'll see that the simplest way is just to have the knee pointing down. And if it's hurting, it might even be slightly forward. And it's going to take a while before that stretches out enough to come back. But if it's not, you might find that you can pull it backwards. And then you need the countering arm here, that you're balanced. So there's quite a wide range of movement there, and you can just decide where you and how far you want to do that. Let's swap sides. So just sliding. If this is the dodgy knee, you know, go into it really carefully and slowly. And then you want to do the full dancer pose. You can just work your way into it. And get that lovely thigh stretch. Of course, as we know, you know, the knee and all of this is all connected through the fascia, so you know, giving it a good stretch is going to help everything in the legs. Once again, when we come back to here, just feel the feet for a moment, take a breath. You might want to feel into your hands and just check in with the jaw. Sometimes when we're doing real concentrating poses, our jaw tenses up, so nice big breath in and release. Good. So final one, we're going to give the hip a bit of a stretch standing up. Again, I'm not all that bothered about you balancing. If you want to work on balance, that's great. So we're just going to come onto one leg. If you need to hold on to something, then by all means do. Okay, I'd rather you concentrate on the hip stretch. So as we bring the knee up and we bring the foot to wherever it reaches, so it might be on the knee, below the knee, above the knee, and then we're going to use this hand to open out the hip. Okay, so we've got one hand, and this is tricky because we're trying to relax while our body is working quite hard. So have a think about how you might do that. If it helps to support yourself, then do. Relax the foot that's up into the leg that's standing. And it's this message of relaxation whilst you're working that will help teach the body how to function in a more relaxed way. And when you're done, we're just going to swap to the other side. So I'm using this hand to gently push the knee to get a little stretch here in the groin. And we can just again relax the legs down and see how they feel. We're nearly there. We're going to sit down in a minute. We're just going to consolidate everything by moving the hips. So let's start with a circle. Just nice, gentle circling of the hips. One way and then the other. And then we're going to go and do that smile again. So from one side, it's like we've got a little bell that we're dinging. Ding the bell here, ding the bell there. Side to side, to side, to side. Good, so we just do that until it feels nice and warmed up. And then we've got the bells in front, and we're going to ding, ding, ding the bell in front. So it's like a half moon shape that we're making. Much more stretching here into the sacroiliac. And then we're going to sort of try and take that into a figure of 8. It's always a little bit tricky. Get going, but once you've got it going, don't forget at some point to change direction. And then back to the center. We can feel that the legs really want to relax now. The feet are sinking into the ground. We've done a lot of stretching. The hips are softening down into the floor. And then we're going to sit down in order to carry on with this. Start with the legs out in front. And just see where we are when we sit down with the legs out in front. You know, how easy is it to sit? Perhaps you need a block to make it easier to be upright. Can you relax your toes, or do you have to bend your knees in order to be fully relaxed? You know, just check in with how it's feeling so that you've got something to compare to in a moment. Good. And then we're just going to sit back a little bit so we can, you know, bring the hands behind us maybe. But if your wrists don't like having too much weight, then you don't have to lean back. And we'll do a little bit of tick-tock. Toes in, tick, release. Tick, release. Tick, release. Now, tick-tock is actually better done not watching, which is why we often do it lying down, which you can't see. So it might be an idea to close your eyes, and then you can feel into the rhythm. Now, obviously, because we're leaning on the wrists, we can't necessarily do this for a whole 2 minutes. The wrist might not like it, so that's okay. You might just sit up again without the hands supporting you. You might just stop. If it's still comfortable, keep going for a little bit longer. And I'm just going to let the legs come to stillness as soon as it feels a bit funny or something has changed in your nervous system and you feel like you want to stop, or you reach the 2-minute mark, which is just about where we're going now. So a couple more. And then let's just let that go. Keep your eyes closed so that you can feel into the feeling of release. If you're leaning back, it's a bit easier to feel that. If you're not leaning back, you might want to now just for a moment to let the legs feel heavy. And then with the lovely heavy legs, even without moving them maybe, let's just see if we can reach forwards and have a nice stretch in the hamstrings and the lower back. Tuck the chin in slightly so it is coming up your back a bit. And then take a breath. And as you breathe out, remember that lovely feeling of release after that tick-tock. Let it relax down. Keep working with that sense of stretching, but with an undercurrent of release. That memory of letting go. Just taking your time with this one, you're in complete control. Make sure that you're not screaming silently inside your head, but you're just trying to work this release. And you know when your body has had enough. So listen to that little message if it's there. Make your own decision when you want to move out. And when you do come out, you might want to Lean back again and just let the legs totally relax a little bit more. And then if you remember, we've been doing this lovely pre-birth move a few times where we slid the leg up really slowly up the body, stroking with our foot. And let's just do that up and down once. So we're going to go up and then down and then up again. As the leg comes down to the floor, just have a moment, just to feel in, and then bring it back up again. And this time as you bring it back up, when it gets to the bit where you can't pull it up, bring your hand and let the hand help you get it to a really nice, comfortable position. And then if you can let the knee drop to the sides. If it's not dropping to the side easily, then a block here is a really good idea. So you can turn one of those blocks on its side and use it to support that leg so that now the leg can completely relax. And we need to spend a little moment there sort of thinking about that, because the hip is probably a bit tight and needs a bit. So you could do things like circling, for example. We warmed the body up a bit, enough to do just small little circles, just to kind of tease that hip into releasing. Good. And as you're doing that, just have that lovely memory as you come to the end of the circle of the tick-tock and the moment you released. So when you come to center, hopefully that hip feels a lot happier. And then we can come forwards. Find a stretch. One leg straight back at the hamstrings, back at the knee, the other leg, it's in the hip. Relax both legs. Feel into the lower back and notice the difference in the stretch in your back between one side and the other. Reminding yourself that yes, you're stretching, but at the same time you're also trying to release. And you know what comes next, so depending on your hip and how easy or how much you want to do, we're going to swap side. Now before you do, remember we've got that little sliding thing to do, so relax the leg that you've been working on. We're going to slide the other foot up. And back down. It's a really slow movement, the slower the better. If your eyes go a bit fuzzy, that's usually a good sign. Bringing it up that third and final time, perhaps using the hand, that last little bit, pulling it up into position. Got both legs nice and relaxed, hopefully. A little bit of circling just to warm up that hip. Doesn't have to be big circles, just a little one will do. And then we're just going to reach forwards. Find the stretch that we want. Support the knee with the block if you need to. As soon as we've got the stretch, our first job is to try and remember, how do we relax here? Again, just taking your time. Most of you know me quite well and probably can guess what comes next. It's trying to do both hips together, unless of course you haven't got 2 blocks. And then you still have to do one at a time. We'll just see if we can try these both hips together. We're just going to circle first a tiny little bit one way and then the other. Reaching forwards when you're ready. And have that dual hip stretch to see how that feels. Stretching and releasing at the same time. Nice deep breaths. Begin to seeing how long you want to do that for. And I'm going to let the legs come out in front again and just see how that work has affected our sitting position, our leg, how comfortable our legs are being out in front here. And you might find that if you bring your hands to your hips here, there's a nice warmth there that's been generated. And you can just for a moment, if you close your eyes, you can just let that warmth spread through your hips. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let that warmth spread through your hips. Lovely. So all of that really was to warm up for doing our mermaid pose, because as you know, this is not an easy one to do, especially when things are a little bit achy. So what we've got here is the foot sort of level with this knee. Now, by all means, support the leg if you need to, put a block under it, or put a block under your hip here, so that you've got a comfortable sitting position. What you want to be able to feel is that you can sit down into the ground fairly comfortably. Now, that's not always the case. For example, usually I'm fine, but my hip here is obviously been doing too much gardening too, and it's a little bit sore. So I'm going to start with this tilting motion really slowly. So as if my pelvis is a bucket and I'm pouring water out the front and out the back. And it might just be the smallest of movements, but once the hip starts to warm up, then I will find that I can move a little bit more freely, and I can start to grow that movement, so more water pouring out as it starts to release. And if your knees are aching a little bit, then support the leg with your hand so that it can relax. So I've got my hand here. I'm just trying to relax as much as I can. Backwards and forwards. Backwards and forwards. And it doesn't take too many goes for my hip to release, because it's used to these movements, but you might find that you actually need to stay in this warm-up position far longer than me. So just really feel into how much that has released, and if it hasn't, then don't move on to the second part just yet. So that those of you that are ready, the second part, we've got the hand on the floor here, and I'm lifting my entire bucket and now pouring it over my leg here. And then coming back, pouring over the bucket, and then coming back. So this is lovely, gentle rotation happening in the hip and in the sacroiliac. You might feel that in the back of in the lower back there, in the sacrum. Again, once we've done a few of those, again, this is a warm-up for the next pose. So I usually do about 4, you might need more. But then we've got the hand on the knee, we've got the tilt, and we're taking it into a twist. So we're starting to look over the shoulder. And a nice big stretch up the back of the body there, and into the sacral iliad, into the sacrum. So just enjoy that, but then come back down to the floor, have the rotation for a moment, and then go back in again, because the rotation is equally as important. Lovely. Three or 4 times, and then we can swap sides. So we're changing the leg position. Again, if this is a little bit more of your sore side, go into it nice and slowly. Use the blocks to support you under the knee or under the buttock, or both even. You might find that you've got them under both. And then start with the tiny movements of the pelvic bowl tilt. That feeling of the water swishing backwards and forwards in the bucket. And then after a little while, starting to spill over the lip, forwards and back. Now, if this is straining at all in the knees or the ankles or even in the hip, you just keep it small. Keep it small and regular and warm. You know, bringing a bit of warmth and rotation into this will be enough for you today. And then just feel into how long you want to do it for before you swap sides. So then we're going to tilt, yeah? So we've got the tilt as we pour the water over the leg and back. And again, it might not be a massive movement, it might just be a tiny little movement. And over time, it will start to increase. And when I say time, you know, we're talking a few years possibly, some hips. So there's no hurry. Any input is good input. A little bit of warming up there. And then we can start to do those twists. So we've got the hand on the knee and we're looking over the shoulder and coming back. Over the shoulder and back. And just feel into that twist in your back. Coming all the way down into that sacrum, and sometimes even beyond. You might feel it into the back of the hip. Lovely. After a few of those, you can let the legs go out in front again. And then just feeling the legs nice and relaxed. And then if they're feeling quite good, you could open maybe out into a triangle position. There's just a few more muscles here getting stretched that haven't had a chance yet. First things first, obviously, is to try and release and relax. You might want to try a little bit of tick-tock type movement, just to remind the legs to let go. And when they release, we can start to circle. So little circles to begin with, and then continue into bigger circles as you feel things have warmed up a little bit. Lovely. And then we can take at some point a different direction, so we can change direction. And now as you sort of come into the circle and you're leaning forwards, give that forward bit of the lean a little bit more emphasis. because you can guess what comes next, we're going to come back to the middle. Let the legs relax for a moment. And then we're going to lean forwards. And it doesn't have to be very far, just enough to get the stretch. Let the legs relax again. So again, you're thinking of your tick-tock feeling. You're releasing, breathing, relaxing. You might even want to imagine that whilst you're stretching forwards, you'll still go around in circles a little bit. That can be quite good for the hips. And the back of the knee and the inner thigh and side of the knees are all getting a really good stretch. And as things relax a bit, you might want to move a bit forward. See how that feels. And then when you're ready to come out, it's not one of those poses we can hold for long, is it, that one? Just see how it feels. Let the legs relax down. We can see that the sitting bones are trying their best to just sink into the floor, and letting go, the legs are starting to feel a little bit denser. Let's bend one foot in. We'll do a nice sideward bend while we're here. So we've got both legs in this position, hopefully a bit more relaxed. The short leg is where we're going to put our hand. Okay, and we're going to lift this arm up. And the whole job here is just to let the legs drop into the earth while the arm lifts upwards. And you'll feel that there's a big stretch here in the rib cage, and we need to breathe into the ribs just to get a little bit more space in there. Relax the legs down as best you can. Let the breath lift the arm. And if you're quite bendy, you might want to start to bend the elbow so that you can get a little bit further over as things loosen. So you're bending the elbow of the hand that's on the floor. You know what comes next, so when your arm feels like it is going to drop off, then we'll swap sides. So the other leg comes out, the other foot comes in. First things first, relax both your legs. Then we bring the hand onto the short leg side. We lift up, breathing in. Bending the elbow, a little bit at a time. Relaxing that leg back down. Stretching, breathing into that rib cage. Again, just taking however many breaths you feel you need to. Let the legs then come in. Oh, you should be feeling like they weigh like lead by now. And that's sort of how we know that, you know, they're lovely and relaxed. You can try a couple of TikToks, and even if they're still a bit sore, at least they're getting the message that, you know, you can release. Even when you're stretching, even when things are sore, you can still relax. And that's a really important message for the nervous system, because it then helps to feed into the messaging services like, there's nothing too far wrong here. Yes, it's a bit achy, but you know, give it time and it will relax. So let's bring ourselves to lying down next. So with our nice heavy legs, I don't know if you're on your mat in the right position, but if you can, see if you can sort of lean back and not do much with your legs so that they remain really beautifully heavy. I'm staying slightly looking up so that I can see you, so you're supposed to be lying down, just so you know. And as you lie down, just again tune in with how your legs feel. This is the area we've been really working on today. Nice and heavy, and we're going to do a little bit more work on the floor. So let's bend up the knees and bring the soles of the feet together and the knees together. And we're going to start to sort of move them from side to side so that it's really slow. So remember, this is one of those pre-birth moves. You're not trying to have stretch here. You're just working from one side and up really slow. So it takes you about 10 to 15 seconds to either bring the knees down to one side or bring them back up to the middle. So it's proper slow movement. We want to go twice on each side, unless, of course, your nervous system has had enough and it's decided that that's too much. This is a really strong reflex move. When you are done both sides twice, then bring the legs back to the center and just have a moment there just to feel into how the body is feeling. And turn sideways in case you need to see what comes next. We're going to leave one leg on the floor, one foot on the floor. Bring the hands together onto the knee, relaxing both legs. We're going to push down through the femur into the floor. And once we've sort of released that, we might want to straighten this other leg and just see how it feels doing it a little bit stronger there with the legs straight. Now, the stretch that I really want to do here is that sciatic stretch. But often first we need to have a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. So we can straighten the leg up and towards the air, grabbing hold behind the knee, or if you can reach, grabbing hold the toe or the ankle. But trying to reach and straighten that leg. So it's a big hamstring stretch. We're pretty warmed up for this, so it shouldn't be a problem, but it's okay also to hold here at the back of the neck. And then we're going to let this leg fall to the side. I notice I've got my elbow here on the floor with my hand sort of ready to catch my leg, because what I want is this leg to relax completely into that hand. And breathe. Feel that femur sink into the floor, the other leg relaxing. Just relax your toes, feel your foot soft, your ankle soft, your knee, your hip softening. Even though you're stretching, there's an undercurrent of release. And then just bring that leg back up. And you can use the hand that's on the floor there to push it, so it doesn't have to do very much. Bend the knee down, bring this leg to the floor and let it relax completely. So we're not going through the whole floor routine, just this sciatic stretch today. You can keep that leg straight as you try and bring the other knee up. First of all, giving it a squeeze in and down into the floor. Feeling that leg then come up. Giving that hamstring stretch. If you want to grab hold of the big toe, if you can reach, and that's a possibility. Otherwise, just grabbing hold at the back of the leg, just see how that feels. Really good, strong hamstring stretch. And then I'm letting that leg fall to the side. I might have my hand there ready and waiting to catch the leg so that it can relax fully. course, we're going to use that hand then. Both legs are soft. Use that hand to help that leg come back up to the center. Bring it to the ground, and hopefully they're feeling really beautifully relaxed. And so much so you're thinking, right, it's almost must be time for relaxation soon, and you'd be right, it is. And we're getting there. Still a couple of things to do though. We're going to start off by bringing the knees up, grabbing hold of both knees with the hands, and we're just going to circle on the floor here. Lots of circling today, because if you remember, this is what is good for joints and for the fascia, for the messaging service to get you to release. Again, starting perhaps with little circles and then increasing the movement in one direction, but not forgetting then to change direction at some point. Just letting that release. When you come back, when you decide to stop, just circle back into the middle so that you're doing the smallest little circles that you can, and then just rest the whole body into that point where you stop. We're going to let one leg go to the floor, and we're going to bring the ankle of the other leg to rest on that knee. So it's like we're sitting in a chair with our legs crossed. And just let that, both the legs relax there for a moment. Just see how that feels. Then if you want to, not everybody will, this might be enough of a stretch for you, we're going to reach up and try and grab hold of the back of the leg here. And to give that back of the hip a little bit of a stronger stretch. You might find that you've got enough of a stretch, you don't want to do that, that's okay. If you manage to, with your head up, you might want to try then see what happens if I bring my head back down onto the floor. It's a stronger stretch. And all the time your legs are relaxing. When you're finished, release the hands first and bring the foot to the floor. Have a moment to let everything relax. And then we're going to swap sides. Moving slowly from one side to the other. Not all hips are made equal, so just give it time. See how this side feels. First, relax them both. If it feels all right to do so, reaching up for your leg. Bringing the head down at the very end. The 3 stages to the stretch, you choose where you want to be. Just going to let go. Bring both legs to the floor. We might want to reach them out and stretch them out so that the whole body can relax for a moment. It's quite a full-on stretch, that one. Probably the hardest we're going to do today. Right, so we're going to do a reverse twist today. So that means that we're going to roll onto our side first and have the arms out in front of us. And the legs are nice and soft and relaxed, hopefully, in this position. And all we're going to do is reach forward and back with the hand 2 or 3 times. Forward and back. And then on that final sort of third reach forwards, we're going to keep the reach as we come up and over and then down onto the floor. And of course the shoulder will be well off the floor here, but that doesn't matter. We're just trying to relax the legs, so you can bring the other hand to the legs. That's quite nice to remind these legs to relax completely. And then start to sort of work on relaxing your shoulders. Breathing into the floor, letting go. And using the relaxation in the legs and the lower back as a tool to help the upper back let go. Now again, you know what comes next. So when you feel ready, I'm going to let the legs come up to the center, and we're going to roll our whole body to the other side. So remember, we're starting already on our side, arms out. Make this sideways actually so you can see a little bit better. And then reaching and back. I've got my knees tucked in and I'm reaching and back. So this is really good to get deep into that shoulder and upper back connection. And about the third reach, we leave the legs super relaxed where they are, and we bring the arm over. Bring them parallel-ish. Keep these legs nice and relaxed and soft. And work on letting go of the upper back and just releasing and breathing. Now, if your arm doesn't reach the floor, it doesn't matter. If it's in the air, just do your best to try and relax it down. It might not go far, but it's the relaxation that you're after, not being able to make the right shape. As many breaths as you wish. When you're ready to come out, it's the knees that are going to move first. So you're back on your back with the knees bent. And then you can move the arms around to your sides. We're ready for just one today, little inversion. So this is where we get the blood flow to come into the forehead and the head. So we tuck the chin in. And we come into a bridge. Now, as you come into the bridge, just feel how soft and warm and worked out your legs are. And try and keep that softness, especially in this lower back area. It's really easy to start to lift with your buttocks rather than push with your feet. So feel the push come through the feet. Relaxing. And we're just going to sustain that for as long as we can. But when your legs are this relaxed and your back is this relaxed, actually it's not going to be very long. You're going to start to feel that sense of wanting to let go. That push, which is fine. Now, if you've got your blanket nearby, might be a good time to bring it and throw it over you before we do this last bit. This means that then you don't have to move. So we're going to stretch out the legs and do a fish pose. So again, another little inversion. We're sitting on our hands. We've got the elbows up. They're pushing. And then we can push through the elbows and let the head drop back. Now that's quite a strong way of doing that. And I know some of you are quite comfortable doing it that way, but not everybody is. So remember that you can start on the floor with the head on the floor and just turn the chin up. Like so. And again, how long you hold that for is up to you. When you come back down from that, you'll find that you're very heavy. And the legs in particular are really releasing into the floor, tingling, they're doing something anyway. And just before we go into relaxation, we're going to bring the soles of the feet onto the ground. Palms of the hands facing down, and we're just going to do our little rocking. So the knee bend rock, or the floor rock, the foot rock, whatever you want to call it. Very little effort. So think about how relaxed your legs are and how you really don't want to strain them in any way. So how can you get this to become a little bit smoother? Perhaps you need to move your feet into a better position or release your neck. And we're getting into a rhythm. Every time your mind wanders off, just keep bringing it back to that rhythm. And it feels as if every cell is lining itself up with this movement. Feeling into any moment of uncomfortableness that you might feel you want to stop. Remembering it's okay to stop. And then when you find that place where it feels like you've had enough, then by all means bring it to a gentle stillness. We're going to just release the legs out and let the body begin its relaxation. Just feel your breath. Aware of the weight of your body. Just noticing the softness of the muscles in the toes and the feet as they melt off the bones. So the little bones in the feet are released. Bones moving about wherever they want to go. Noticing the warmth in the calves and the shins and around the knees, the muscles letting go of their hold upon the bones. So they too feel free to move. Just floating inside you. Moving gently with your breath. Feeling the warmth of the muscles in the thighs, front and back and sides and into the hips. Even the lower back. Feel them letting go of the bones. The bones are just floating inside you, moving gently the wave of your breath. Both feet and toes, the whole of your legs and hips, the muscles soft, releasing. The bones moving gently with the wave of your breath. Feeling the muscles in the back of the pelvis and the lower back. Around the front of the pelvis too, just letting go. Feeling the softness and the warmth. As the muscles let go of the bones just floating inside you. Moving gently with the rhythm of your breathing. Feeling the breath coming into the upper back, the warmth of the muscles in the upper back and the shoulders. Allowing your attention to come into the arms and hands. Feeling the softness in the muscles of the hands and arms as they let go of the little bones in the hands and the big bones in the arms. They too feel as if they're just floating inside you. Moving gently with the wave of your breath. Breathing in, feeling the breath coming into the neck. The warmth of the muscles in the neck and around the base of the skull as they let go of their hold upon the head. Muscles releasing their hold completely. The head feels as if it could just roll off anywhere. Feeling the softness of the muscles in the face and the scalp like a blanket draped over the skull, the face expressionless. Your whole body, all the muscles, face and head, neck and throat, shoulders, arms and hands, upper back, lower back, chest, pelvis, hips, legs and feet. All the muscles in the body softening. The bones just floating. Breathing in, just feeling that softness in your body. And as you breathe out, letting go into the floor a little bit more. Breathing in, feeling the softness of the body, and as you breathe out, feeling the weight of the bones as they just sink towards the floor. In breath with this awareness of warmth and softness. Out breath, letting go into the ground. And sometimes perhaps being able to feel both these sensations together, simultaneously aware of the weight of the body and the softness of the muscles. Just allow your awareness to keep this sense of the body softening as you breathe in, letting go into the floor as you breathe in. Just allowing your breathing to become just slightly deeper now. Just let that breath gently begin to wake you. If you feel like staying lying down for a little while longer, you always can because you're at home. Just give yourself a moment or two when you're ready, rolling onto your side after wiggling those fingers and toes. And when you're ready, you can come back. Just going to unmute everybody. Make sure I...